Hey everybody, it's Susie Q and I'm here to show you just what I do. I have a passion for fish and exotics too, so come along with me, it's Susie Q. Hey everybody, it's Susie Q. Hey everybody, it's Susie Q.
Hey everybody, Susie Q here and welcome to QueAquatics and Exotics. Today we're going to take a closer look at this enclosure in my series of enclosures, tanks, and cages. So this here is an exoterra, and I thought it'd be a good idea to do a little deep dive into this enclosure because I'm getting ready to take my guy out. Now my guy that's in here is an Asian water dragon, Mushu. As you can see, he's absolutely gorgeous. So this enclosure measures 18 by 18 by 24. It was a very good size for him in his first year. But as you can see, he's starting to get bigger and bigger every day. Now he's in a palindarium because he's arboreal, so he loves to climb trees and he loves to climb. But he's also aquatic, as when he gets scared, he likes to go in the water, and times he just wants to go in the water. So we have there's a good 5 inches of water. I think I got some footage of me setting up this enclosure when I did. So I used the clay pellets as the draining layer. Yep, starting off with this plastic mesh. And what is a project without zip ties, right? Thank you, One Fish, Two Fish, ROC. Of course, you gotta have your scissors. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here and cut out the shape that I want and make a box to hold all of my clay pellets. And I'm going to speed this up so I can show you how I did that. Let's see here. So this is going to be a little bit weird. Like that. Because I want it to be at an angle. I'm going to start by putting these together. So I basically used the zip ties like I was sewing it. And it is a kind of like an odd shape, but I wanted to have the most water possible, but still had enough land area. So I played around with the template and just put together a box. So I just made a little box for it. A little drainage area for what's going to go on top. Made a lid for it. Now I'm going to make a little terrarium on top of this. And that's going to be the island. This is going to be the land, if that makes sense. So I have to build up a little bit. Put my weed cover on it. Let's get to the next step. Then I built a couple platforms so that it was like a step-up kind of land area. So the first land area was 3 inches off the ground. The next one was 4, and the last one in the back is 5. And I put in several trees for him to climb on. One looks like it's like a bamboo tree from Home Depot, a baby tree. But it wasn't labeled. So take a look at this. If you know what kind of tree this is, now that I notice that the leaves are really tiny, it's not a bamboo tree. Then I have my pothos that is just growing crazily, outrageously good. My ficus tree, which he loves to climb, and then I have some bark leaning up against the wall for where he just chills all the time. I also have lots of hides throughout this whole thing. And I had a couple of endlers that were swimming around in here. And I think he may have got them because he usually eats his crickets, mealworms, dubia roaches. Every once in a while I'll give him a green hornworm, but not too often. He doesn't really eat any vegetables. He doesn't nibble at the plants. He's very chill. And he did get out one time I forget what happened. I think I was watering all the enclosures, so when I came back about an hour later, when I came back after work, I noticed this enclosure was open. And I was devastated. And my daughter helped me find him. He was on the third shelf up super high in my closet. And oh my gosh. And I was kind of worried that he was going to bite, and he was just so sweet. So some of the lights that I have up here, back in the back, I have, if you can see it, it's a UVB light and a heat bulb in one. Then this fancy light I got at a Home Depot Grow Center for aquaponics, which is probably why everything in here is just growing like crazy. But he is getting bigger and bigger, so I am building him into the closet, 4 foot by 4 foot by 2 foot deep enclosure. So I really love this guy. From what I can tell, there's not a whole lot of success. Most of them are wild caught. And since I got him at a big chain Petco, he was probably wild caught, but he was so little at the time. And I quarantined him. I kept a close eye on him. I obviously babied him. And now he's good. Now, they can be a community species, but I'm afraid to introduce a disease or a parasite. So I think he's going to be all by himself. Him and his little fishy friends that I get for him to swim with. So that is Mushu, my baby, who I just think is one of the most beautiful creatures in the world. Look at that face. Look at that structure. Look at these toes. His scales are magnificent. If you stare long enough, I think you could see every color in the rainbow in that green. It's just absolutely beautiful. And I'm really not sure if it's a male or female yet because he's still quite young. The time will tell if he starts developing that crest. So let me talk a little bit about his humidity level, his temperatures. So these Chinese water dragons have a lifespan of anywhere from 10 to 15 years. But the humidity level has to stay around 80 degrees, which is why it's in this enclosure is all glass. And even though the top is screen, I have saran wrap on the back. The humidity level in this tank gets anywhere from 75 to 85 degrees every day. Plus I mist it down every day. You ready for me to butcher the name? Physignathus coccinus. That's the best I can say is Physignathus coccinus. Cosinus. Physignathus cosinus. I'm going to act like I know what I'm saying. Physignathus cosinus. And we'll just call him the Asian water dragon. As a female, head to tail is going to be about 3 feet. So you can see why this enclosure is only good for her now as a baby. That's why she's going in a 4 foot by 4 foot by 2 foot deep enclosure with trees and a 20 gallon long aquarium inside, and it's going to be bioactive, and I cannot wait to have that created. I have it ready for her to go, and then the enclosure doesn't fit in the closet. So I had to tear it all down. I still have all the plants and all the trees and everything in it. But either I'm going to have somebody help me tear down that enclosure and rebuild it inside the closet, or just build a new one inside the closet. So yeah, her basking area is just a little bit under 100 degrees. And she also has gradient heat, so it's 100 degrees up top by the basking, and it gets all the way down to 80 degrees over here. And plus there's water. This water is at 75 degrees, so she can go diving in the water anytime she wants. My new favorite bulb that she doesn't have yet, but it's in her new enclosure, is the mercury vapor bulbs. They're good for UVB and UVA. So I really like the all-in-one. They're more expensive, but I think they last the same length. But it's not really more expensive if you take into consideration that you're replacing 2 bulbs with 1 bulb. Now she can go in the water and she can hold her breath for up to like 20-25 minutes. So I'm not too worried about it. And they suggest that if you're having a big bowl of water, change it every day. But if you're like me and already in the aquarium hobby, I'm just going to set her up with a 20 gallon long with a filtration system, and I'll put some fishy friends in with her. I do have some endlers, and I got some, I think I'm going to go with the white cloud minnows. I'll put some white cloud minnows in there with her. Either she'll have enrichment, you know, chasing them around, and they'll just look real good. They are basically insectivores, but I am trying to do some fruits and vegetables. And I'm going to take some footage, and you're going to watch him eat these mealworms. Loves them, and I let him hunt for the crickets. I do see one cricket down here that got away, but for the most part, not too many critters get away from him. He's a very good hunter. And these worms just have a light dusting of calcium. Yes, I spoil them a little bit by tongue feeding them, and I don't care. I dropped one on the floor. No, I didn't. He's on my toe. Nope. There's one more. And that's nothing. That's the casing. I gotta get the one off my toe. There we go. There we go, Pumpkin. So I have been tongue feeding her. I know she's not afraid of me. I talk to her all the time. I'm getting to the phase, especially when she's got a larger enclosure and she can hide, I'm just going to rest my hand in there for a while and see if she comes out on it. I don't want to do it in this tiny enclosure because she doesn't have a whole lot of space to hide and feel safe. And I want her to feel safe that if she feels like running and hiding, she has a place to run and hide. There really isn't a whole lot of place to run and hide. It's only 18 inches deep and 18 inches wide. You know, so... But that's where I'm going. She's used to me feeding her by hand. I go in there and I take care of all the plants. She doesn't run from me. When she did get out, I was able to catch her. Absolutely no problems. So I think she'll be very handleable. I'm just in no rush. You know, I'm in no rush. I'm going to have her a lifetime. Hopefully 15 long years. But I did want to showcase this tank before she no longer lives in it. So thanks for coming along and checking out this enclosure. I know in the past I've done probably about 6 or 7 of my aquarium tanks so far, and this is my first enclosure that I featured in my enclosures, tanks, and cages. So stay tuned for some more deep dives into each one of my enclosures, tanks, and cages. See you next time.
Hey, everybody, it's Susie Q. Hey, everybody, it's Susie Q. Na hey, everybody, it's Susie Q. So come along with me. Said I'm Susie Q.